We're back.
We are back.
Wow.
Okay.
He's got us on a schedule.
This is Shawne's up. Shawne's up.
Okay. So our next
you. Good night.
movie is from Shawne.
So I chose Mortal Engines, which came out in 2018. The director is
Christian River.
Christian. Oh, I wrote actually an A, like it was Christia, whatever. Rivers.
Well, it is, but it is. I wrote it with an A too.
So maybe it is
Who
Christian.
cares, as long as you say it right.
Well, now we don't know whether it's a man or a woman. I mean, I don't care, whatever. Based on the book by Philip Reeves. Hera Hilmar plays the main character of Hester Shaw, and Hugo Weaving plays Thaddeus Valentine, our bad guy. After some apocalyptic event, major cities have to keep in motion. And they do that by these huge machines that are very steampunk, very, everything's kind of out there. You see all the gears and things moving. And so they either move on land or move in the sky with these huge cities.
Speaking of machines.
And
You better say something nice. The machine's not going to like you.
the machines are going to like me, yeah. The plot, I think, is real typical. It's just,
Yeah, it is.
it's a girl's out for revenge for the guy who killed her mom, and that guy is trying to take over the world.
Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, blah blah blah.
Same old
yada,
story.
Yada yada. And honestly, other than the machines that I thought the machines looked really cool.
Absolutely.
I love steampunk in any, like Mad Max, like
Right,
steampunky
yeah,
with the
yeah.
goggles and the different things. I love that stuff. Actually, I thought it was really boring. I thought I just thought the plot was really boring, and it went somewhere because it obviously has a beginning, a middle, and end, but it didn't really go anywhere for me. It didn't really do anything for me. And I didn't understand, like, London. You see London trampling over forest after forest, and I'm like, what's wrong with the fucking forest?
Yeah, why aren't they living there?
And then to go to that wall, like the Great Wall of China kind of thing, where people are living, and they did live on the ground and on the mountainside and stuff. So, yeah, I thought it was just a little boring for me personally.
Okay. George?
Yeah, it was a little boring. It was entertaining though. I like the special effects. I also like steampunk, and I thought it was if it's based on a book, and I haven't read the book, but this must be a brilliant book because the concepts of it's almost like they missed something, and it's a lot of like I was thinking the traveling city is London, and it's swallowing up other cities, and you can see like sometimes and this is the West and the East. And in the movie, the East is very philosophical, and the West is just trampling and taking over. So it's almost like a
typical,
analogy. Is that what you call it for real life? And
like a metaphor.
Metaphor. That's what I'm looking for. It's a metaphor. There was a lot of metaphors in the movie about just the life and how the 60-minute war, how everybody just blew everybody else off, and that's why they create these moving cities. But I enjoyed it. There was the thing with that creature, that death creature with the green eyes.
Shriek.
Yeah, something.
If he said that name, Hester Shaw, one more bloody time.
I thought it might be more interesting in the book, but I thought the movie could have been a great movie without that character. It was unnecessary for me to have that character there.
Or to make it much more in that.
Or if you're going to use that character, really get into that story too. But it was just like...
Yeah, they were just flashbacks.
Also because even though it's a sci-fi, I could believe it. I can believe mechanical cities moving around. I can believe... that there was a nuclear war and we messed everything up and then we had to start from scratch again. So yeah, it's realistic. And then they threw in this Walking Dead thing, and that just made it too fake for me.
Yeah.
But other than that, it could have been a great story. I mean, probably, and unfortunately, I think it's a good director. Because I was gonna say with the right director, maybe it would have been a little better. But I enjoyed it. But yeah, it could have been better.
Yeah. Well, I I don't even know where to start with this movie. I don't know where to start with it. You're right. It could have been a great movie. Okay, so I watched it the first time. I could not stay awake. Kept falling asleep in the movie, and I'm like, "What the hell?"
That's a sign right there.
But then I read a synopsis of the plot,
Right.
and it sounded great. I was like, "Well, maybe I'll
What did it
give it
say?
a second chance." Literally, the synopsis was almost 2 pages long. That's how intricate. Because they're telling me the book, what's going on in the book. And I was like, okay, maybe I have to watch this again because that plot sounds really intricate and might be interesting. So I watched it again, and actually the first time I watched it, Shawne, I said, you may have found a contender for a movie that made Beneath the Leaves look like an Academy Award
2 in one lifetime.
contender. So I was like, okay, let me give this a second. And the second time I did stay awake.
She did.
But
I was there.
here's what I think. I think it was too much. I don't want to sound like too much fighting. It was like I think if they would have stayed more with the plot, which is actually quite interesting. It's got an interesting plot. But then they got into oh my God, the only emotional person in that was Shrike. It's like he's a
That's
machine,
true. Yeah.
and he's the only one. And they're all
Hester
stoic. They're all
Shaw. Hester Shaw.
So there was so many things. There was so many things wrong with the thing that it was like he's a machine. It's like, and I actually relate to him the most.
That's hilarious.
As a human.
Yeah.
And also I read that this was the big bomb of 2018 because that guy, the director, he did The Hobbit.
Was it Jackson?
Lord of the Rings. Isn't it the Lord of the Rings guy? Yeah.
The director.
He did
Peter
Lord of the Rings.
Jackson?
And to me, he felt like he was redirecting Lord of the Rings, but it didn't have quite the plot of Lord of the Rings. So he made it really big, but I thought the plot was actually really interesting. I'm more interested in reading the book.
Me too. Yeah.
Because I
that
think
might
the
say
book
something.
sounds really interesting.
Maybe he was following in the thing with Lord of the Rings, making an hour-long movie into a 3-hour-long marathon, and stretching it out as much as he can.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was too long.
Okay, so, it was just too much.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the visuals are amazing, though. I have to say, the visuals were really good.
Yeah, and I think that's
Nothing else.
yeah, he was into that for sure. Okay, so Patty,
I agree with all of you on that. It's like, even though you can have a plot that's mediocre, if you make the other components, like visually and the concept was brilliant. I mean, it was actually creative. It wasn't a remake of something else, which I'm totally
Definitely
grateful
not.
for. And that alone in this day and age is like a big deal. But as I said, I didn't bond with anybody. I didn't feel I cared about anybody in the movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just didn't go anywhere. The plot was, I wouldn't say strong, it was pretty weak. And it's a plot that everybody's used, but the other components weren't there to make it strong.
well, it's a classic plot.
Yeah, but I
It
don't
has
know.
a young adult novel feel to it, too, like Hunger Games.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe. Now,
What?
see,
It's what?
I would give it more
has, like-
birth if I knew
It has
that it was
like, Twilight, Hunger Games, you have to feel like a young
a
adult
young
novel.
adult novel.
God,
I
never
would
thought-
give it more.
Because they all felt young, too. Like, the one with the
Because there's
most...
two couples
Yeah, two
happening.
couples, yeah.
The bad guy's daughter and
And they're
the
really
worker,
young,
and then
yeah.
the
guy
librarian,
looks like he
dude,
could be singing for the
historian,
Cure.
and then Hester Shaw.
And then also and the one with the actor with the most range was the monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the humanest
Actually,
one
I
above
felt so
all of
bad.
them.
I felt bad for him, but
I felt
but
really
even
bad.
while he was chasing her, if it didn't make sense. He's a robot who's supposed to have
Yeah,
no emotions.
right.
That's what
so
I'm
why does he
saying.
keep after her to
Right.
turn into a robot? It's like,
Well, they
he-
actually mentioned that in the movie.
He's lonely. No, I don't.
but that's a human emotion. It's like
Yes.
it shouldn't have even crossed his
Even English is
mind.
an
Yes.
emotion.
But they do mention that.
What?
That he's that it's,
She had
it's
promised
Hester
him.
Shaw that
She
says
won't feel pain.
no. That she believed that he had memories of his
Right.
previous life.
Right.
Well, you
So,
see
Yes, I think
flashbacks.
so that's why
Oh, he was like slowly coming back to him. That kind of
Yeah,
that's when
it
you
was-
get sometimes
Yeah,
you get
because,
some emotion.
because at the end he starts having memories.
Yeah, when
of
he
her.
dies, he actually it's actually his family. Like he sees
Right.
him holding his
Right. It goes
son's
back to
hand.
that.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, sorry. Well, you know.
Well, don't watch it.
Yeah, you don't need to. Whatever.
Oh no, I wouldn't say don't watch it. I would say that for a technical and a visually, it was really very interesting. But anyways, I was about to tell you, it was the biggest bomb of 2018, and they mainly blamed it on the director.
I don't think it's the director's fault at all. I think it was the writing of the whole
No, that
story.
means what he put in there. In other words, he's the one who picks the scenes that go together to make the movie.
No, I know that, but the whole
And
thing
it's
is
like he didn't want to lose one thing.
it's true. It's like it's so much. Sometimes when movies get so technical,
Yes.
like creative,
yes.
they miss everything else because they're trying to outdo everybody else. And I think this
You
movie
can see
is one
the
of them.
potential for this movie. It could have been epic. It just
That's
the
what
whole-
I think.
the whole
I
concept.
think it could have been good
Yeah,
if it was
yeah.
smaller.
shoulda.
If it was smaller.
Yeah.
I understand you had like all these great shots and you want to get them all in there, but you probably would need to do it over a couple of movies.
Right.
It's a 4-part book. It has 4 books.
I
in
didn't
a
know it was a
series.
book.
It's a series.
Yeah.
It has 4 books, and I think that he could have done it like Lord of the Rings. He could have done it
Right.
smaller with
It's
more
more-
plot.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so
Scoring.
Okay.
5.
Scores,
I give
scores.
Mortal Engine a 5.
Oh, thank you.
Me too. I give it a 5.
Yeah, just for the special effects, I'll bump it up to 6. But yes.
You are a generous man.
I'm going to follow the crowd. 5 because I thought it had potential.
Yeah.
It just never made it there.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it had good story to work with, I thought.
Yeah.
It was
Okay,
the
girls,
devil's in the
guys.
details.
We'll be back.
Okay, I need a little more.